Thank you. Thanks for having me at 1 Million Cups. Really appreciate the 1 Million Cups team for letting Public Space One speak here. We're happy to be the inherited sponsor of this because of the equipment with the merger, and I'll talk about that a little more. Public Space One is a lot of things, and we're in a lot of places now. So I thought today I would try and do a little bit of an origin story for you all. But before I get into that, just some bullet points. We have events, we have studio spaces for artists, we do workshops, we have a gallery. We have 3 major programs. Center for Afrofuturist Studies, which is a residency program we run. The Iowa City Press Co-op, which is a printmaking studio and education center. And the newly minted Media Arts Co-op, which is what our new space is that PATV used to be in. Still up and coming. So 3 locations, 2 are right on North Gilbert Street on the north side, and then the building that is down south where PATV used to be. In the last year, we expanded and increased our visibility a whole bunch. And that's great, but our mission is to hopefully not just expand for the sake of expanding, but so we can engage people on a deeper level. But getting to the origin story, the one thing I wanted to talk most about is this idea of artists as leaders and the community as a collaborator. So this was the kind of pitch I came up with for 1 Million Cups. So we see our nonprofit as a place where the artists are leaders. And what does that mean to us? It means that all the positions on our board, 90% of them are artists. That's how they define themselves. All the teams that work with us, the Iowa City Press Co-op, the Media Arts Co-op to come, Center for Afrofuturist Studies, we're all artists kind of first. And we believe that artists should be in positions of leadership. So if we're all artists and we're organizing and the community is our collaborator, then my question is, what is or where is the art work? So before I get into when PS1 started in 2002, and this was the first media coverage on the cover of Little Village, I'll come back to this, and this was about when I moved to town, so I wanted to tell you a little bit about my background. I am a trained traditional black and white darkroom photographer, which means I like long times in dark rooms without anyone else around. So this is not my natural state. I've always been interested in photography as a way to tell stories. How people read photographs has always been interesting to me. And I moved to Iowa City to go to the MFA program and study photography, to seclude myself on the arts campus and just live in the darkroom. But things change when you meet a lot of interesting people. My photography became more about the experience people were having when they were looking at the photographs. I became really interested in that dynamic between artist and audience and what happens there. And you can see this in some of the work. You know, it's always questioning the viewer, what you're reading and how it fits in. And this led me to a strange and peculiar place. I started wanting to make photographs that weren't necessarily my own, but were ephemeral moments in the community. So I started covering myself in straw and creating spectacles where photographs were taken, and it was about that direct audience engagement. And in this way, my practice had fully done a 180 from a solitary darkroom thing to something that went out into the world and created art in the streets, if you will. You probably recognize this place, a few feet away, about 8 years ago. And then I have done this performance in other places. This was in a market in East London in 2012, I think. So how did I get there? I wanted to point out this person. This is Joseph Beuys. Anyone know the artist Joseph Beuys? Maybe one of the most famous 20th century German artists, and this is just a little bit of his work. Kunst equals capital, art equals capital. And the reason I'm showing you boys is because early on when I got involved with Public Space One, his idea of the social sculpture was something that I took and probably very wrongfully misapplied, but I was really interested in that. So I'm going to read this. In his thought, creativity was neither the unique domain of artists nor capital, the sole realm of corporations. Rather, both were equally present and available to all within their daily lives and practices. So this idea to me that everyone is creative in some form is really important to how I see my work at Public Space One. He has this aphorism, everyone is an artist, and people have misinterpreted this, and I won't get into it here, but the idea is that art is larger than what is contained in a gallery. Back to PS1. We started above the Deadwood, and I think this cover of Little Village is really interesting for the subtitle, Hyper Creative Idealists Turn Loose. And I think that this is something that has kind of stayed with us. Even though I wasn't around at the beginning, whatever this idea was to create a platform to go public with your expression, that idea has stuck through all the people who have come through the organization and the people who are now inheriting their work. So we've existed in 6 places in Iowa City, I believe. Last year, we started out the year in the basement of the Wesley Center. Before that, we were in the basement of the Jefferson Building. These are just a few events from those spaces. And then we had the opportunity to buy 2 houses on the north side. We launched a capital campaign, a Home for Possibilities. This is an illustration done by one of our board members and artist extraordinaire, Sayuri Heeman, and it's a rendition of the 2 houses that we have on North Gilbert Street. Here's a picture of them with our hashtag and all the joys of home ownership, including shoveling snow. We've had an exhibition, or I guess we're on our 4th one in the houses, even though we're kind of in this gray area. We're not officially open because we still have a couple things to do to meet the city's code. And these are just a few shots from our newest house on 229 North Gilbert Street. I wanted to just touch on a couple of the programs. One is our printmaking facility, the Iowa City Press Co-op, and Emily Jelinski is here, and she's going to come up and help answer questions when I'm done here in a second. This facility, we do 3 seasons of workshops. We're located right next door to where our gallery is, so right north of the Haunted Bookshop in the Northside neighborhood. We're very happy to be staying in the Northside neighborhood, which is where we've always been, although people didn't recognize it because we were in a basement before. One of our programs, led by Anne Duplan, is the Center for Afrofuturist Studies, where we bring artists of color to Iowa City to make work and meet with youth, lead workshops here. We've done, I think we're at 15 visiting artists since the program started in 2016. And at the end of 2019, we won a major national grant from the Via Wagner Foundation, which was $20,000 for 2 years to support that program. And then we're launching the Media Arts Co-op, which came about with the merger with PATV in October of last year. This is kind of a hodgepodge slide. I didn't have a place to put Kalmia Strong, but she deserves a place because she's basically a co-director, although officially the program director. And then a couple slides from organizing around the Media Arts Co-op, which is what Ricardo is helping us live stream with some of that equipment here today. We don't even have a logo yet, but we hope to be up and running in early March, probably. So to finish, thinking about where is the art located? I think it's located in the idea that art can be a work in progress, and that if you create a platform that the community can plug into, art can expand to envelop that, right? So I'm really interested in the idea of kind of expanding beyond people seeing Public Space One as an art gallery or a printmaking studio, but it should be seen as a platform for creative expression and to get back to kind of Joseph Boy's idea. And the idea is to push towards freedom, right? Towards human freedom, and that includes recognizing the creativity that is in us all. I think I've probably gone over time, so I'll just end real quick by shouting out one of our upcoming Center for Afrofuturist Studies residents is curating a show. It'll be in the new house. Hopefully will be officially open. It'll be during the gallery walk on March 6th, and it'll be a great regional show of black artists curated from a curator in Chicago. Worth checking out. Of course, we have plenty of other stuff happening, all the social media things and everything like that, and I'm kind of happy to talk about anything, but I was trying to give sort of a background emphasizing the groups that are working together to make PS1 happen. Thank you. Grab my water.
Yeah.
So I threw a lot out there. I'm happy to answer any questions or, yeah.
Just run down a list of the ways that you can help or assist artists and or the community?
Yeah, such a large question. There's so many ways to plug in, you know. I've had people emailing us about wanting to get involved with the television studio and what that media arts program will become. And people get together and we're doing meetings with the group to kind of organize what that space will be. The press co-op, Emily, I don't know if you want to come up or if you want to stay in.
I mean, do you want me to come up?
Yeah, come on up. Because the press co-op has a membership of, I don't know, how many people?
We average probably between like 25 and 30 people, but I imagine that will grow now that we have more space, because one of the houses that John talked about is completely devoted to our new studio space. So that's where we'll hold all of our workshops, and we'll be able to have more space for members. So education is definitely one place that we try to be a resource for artists in town. Encouraging people to apply for shows. I think one thing is we just try to be really inclusive, and anyone who has an idea and wants help or way to make it happen, whether that means space or encouragement, equipment, we just really try to help where we can.
Yeah, and I think one thing that we've prided ourselves on is even when we do like open calls for gallery exhibitions, we try and write individual responses to even the proposals we don't accept, and we try and tell why. So we kind of take this communication between us and the public very seriously. And that comes from being in an art world where you'll send out 100 applications and just get rejections and that sort of thing. And
I just got a rejection yesterday.
yeah.
It was nice, but
Yeah, I mean, that's a fact of life, right? But,
yeah.
But as a, you know, walking this line between a contemporary art gallery and a community art gallery, the community part is important for us to say why the gallery team didn't want to put on this show or that sort of thing. And we also encourage people to come back and meet with us and talk to us. Our gallery team meets every 2 weeks. The press co-op members meet once a month. Media arts people will probably find a rhythm to when they're going to meet on a regular basis, and a lot of meetings, but we encourage emails and communications and try and meet people on an individual level. Yeah.
What are some of the challenges you face as an arts nonprofit magazine?
Well, for a long time, it was space. I mean, we were looking for where we could potentially move for a long time.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point,
Right.
because This time last year, we thought we were going to get kicked out of our current space, and we didn't have anything else lined up. So we were leasing a space that was tenuous. And then fast forward 7 months, and we have 3 buildings that we now own, which is craziness. But part of that, and it didn't happen overnight, and our board had been looking at houses because we were looking at, it's just too ridiculous rent-wise to spend $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month rent downtown when you can buy a house and have a mortgage that's a third of that, and program out of that. And our programming is flexible enough that we just see that whatever venue we have, there's going to be people who know how to make some inspiration work in that, you know? So to us, it wasn't necessarily about having a white cube space, but just a place to launch from.
And we do have a lot of equipment. So in terms of the press co-op, how many times can we really move this very heavy piece, right? So
Yeah, we didn't want to move that stuff.
we didn't want to rent another place and then have to move in a year.
But Adamantine Spine,
Oh, yes. Big shout out to those guys.
yeah, they can
They're
move
fabulous.
presses. So we had literally like 2 tons worth of equipment that they moved in a morning. So yeah.
How are you profitable?
How are we profitable? That's a good question. We're not.
It's a hard time.
I'm being a little facetious.
Our board, I think, is
Yeah, we kind of push everything back into the program. So I think we're at a stage with our organization where we're growing to this level where I think there has been in the human capital of our organization, like many nonprofits, has probably been overworked, right? And so we're at this level right now where the organization financially is stabling out. And the idea is to get to a place where that money comes back to the human capital, because it can't run on my passion, Kalmia's passion, Emily's passion forever. So a lot of us, we have 3 going on 4 part-time staff people, although, you know, I think 3/4 of us, probably all of us, put in double that time, right? Sorry, maybe that's yeah.
So I do consulting on culture and leadership and stuff, and I'm really interested in all this, but in this particular question, more so about like your emphasis on leadership and things like that. And I think that's phenomenal and really important. And as we're moving into this new era, there's questions about like what leadership is, what it used to be, what's still the same. But also, it's not in the traditional way that we see it either, in an office with a charismatic leader. So tell me more about like what your vision is and what you're doing like on the leadership side.
I guess, you know, getting kind of to one thing that has stuck with me. There's a really great arts organization in Minneapolis called Springboard for the Arts, and they have a thing that they promote at every workshop they do, which is getting artists at the table. Like, artists should always be at the table. It doesn't matter what table it is, if it's designing a city or it's doing this thing. So I think for me, that's an important part of the leadership piece, is getting these people into those roles. And I would say, you know, for us, part of the joy of this job has been learning as I go. You know, I like I said, I was a darkroom photographer. I wasn't organizing an arts nonprofit. I had no nonprofit experience. I had no business experience. And these are things that you learn as you go. And the nice thing about that is, as an artist, I feel I can always push against things like branding. Like, can we be an anti-brand? Everyone, you have to market a certain way, that sort of thing. And of course, after time, you start to realize, well, our message is getting bigger. It needs to be more succinct. So we can't just send weird emails out all the time and confuse people, even
maybe
though
sometimes.
we want to do that sometimes.
I think one thing about leadership in terms of, especially how we function with the Iowa City Press Co-op, is like making sure that everyone feels like they can come with an idea, that we're there to give structure, to make sure that things move forward, but making sure that the people that come into Public Space One feel like they can bring an idea to the table and make something happen. And we would like that, we would appreciate that, right? Like, we can't do all the work, we don't want to do all the work. Let's make it a creative effort, community effort, because we actually need it, and because that's what makes our organization what it is.
Yeah.
So we have people on staff, but I wouldn't say that all of our leaders are on staff, right? And anyone can lead a project. So I think that that's something that we really, really focus on and really make sure that we're constantly trying to uplift that.
And it helps to see, I mean, I think that hits at kind of the idea of art as work in progress. Like, there's a lot of joy in our organization, and I don't think it would exist otherwise because there's too many meetings and paperwork and that sort of thing. But in that process, and you know, going through a nonprofit merger, that was, you know, I'd never been part of that process before, and I think if there's things like that, that as an artist, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna learn from this process and take this on, whereas if I had done that before, I'd be like, no, we don't wanna go down this road, we know what's there, but it's a new process all the time. So I think that's something that gives our organization vitality, is just kind of enjoyment of that group work that happens.
And it's not going to be perfect, but we're all going to do our best.
For the print area, you said some numbers. Are you paying to be part of this then? Is it like a monthly membership, or like when you have something printed, you pay for however much wanting done? Or?
Yeah, so we have workshops that's open to anybody, and then once someone is trained on the equipment, they can come in and use open times, so you don't have to be a member to use the shop. So we'll have open hours once we officially open again in this new location. And if you do want more access or to be part of the community and to make decisions, then it is a monthly membership that you pay into. And we're actually going to be launching a new membership structure. It's based on what we've been doing, but we're going to have like a community member option in case someone doesn't really need access to the studio. So far it's always been, if you're a member, you have 24-hour access. You can come in and work whenever you want. We're going to have like another option where if you just want to be part of meetings and maybe occasionally use the shop, you can have kind of a cheaper option of being a member and use the print studio when you need it.
What kind of prints are you using? I saw the screen print.
Oh, yeah. So we have intaglio, which is like engraving. We have relief. We have screen printing. Some lithography, not too much. But we have like 2 main presses, and then we also have a letterpress room. So, and with the new house, we have a lot more space for all of it, which is really amazing. And we have a complete workshop room now. So if anyone took workshops with us in the past, it was really fun, but a little cramped. So we're gonna have a lot more space, a lot more table space. Did that answer everything?
Yeah.
So I have a 10-year-old daughter who enjoys art and would probably enjoy using the print shop and things. Do you have any age limits or like supervision requirements or?
Yeah, that's a great question. In the past, we've paired with other organizations to do kids camps. So Prairie School of Art, we've paired with her, and IYWP. I think there might even, this is on the other slide. So we've done like writing and art camps. This was one that Helmia and I actually led, superhero gear. It was really cute. And yeah, so I think that we'll continue that. A lot of our workshops are actually 14 years and older. It'll kind of specify. So, but we're going to be putting more emphasis on having, and we do kids workshops every once in a while as well. And we also do private lessons. I forgot to mention that. So if there was something that even like you wanted to come in with your child and do a project together, you could do that anytime. But that's open to everybody.
So just following up on that point, have you looked at collaborations with the school district or university colleges around? I mean, it feels like you've got a resource that others don't, in a way
think one thing that, for a long time, it felt like we were kind of trying to be a resource for folks who weren't in school, as far as like the university level. That was one reason why I was really passionate about doing a print shop once I graduated with my print degree, because I graduated and I was like, oh, I don't have everything at my disposal. But we're definitely trying to collaborate more with the university. We have university professors and people on our board. I think that's really helped. And then we have some of the art teachers in town are actually part of the press co-op. So we've been trying to kind of, I don't know if we've cracked it fully, but but if you have any ideas.
It's an interesting question, and one, I think, and this is subject to change, but we recognize, as much as we'd like to not have a limit on our art classes, we hate that definition between youth art classes and adult art classes. And we finally settled on this 14 and whatever, and we recognize that youth art classes are not our number one priority, even though
Or they've been hard to fill.
yeah, and I think, like pointing to people like Prairie School of Art and there's another one on Oakdale Street, or not Oakdale, Oakland Street. It's an interesting question. I think capacity-wise, it may be down the road a year or two, but I see your point. Yeah.
Or like class visits or things like that.
Could that maybe, something like that, could that maybe depend on community engagement? Say someone steps up who has a background in childhood education or something and says, wow, could I do this workshop? Would your staff assist with making that happen?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, on a volunteer basis, not actually you being responsible for the programming, but if it comes from your community, because I'm trying to figure out where the community fits into all this.
Yeah, I think that's how it's happened in a lot of ways, and I think Prusel School of Art has done art shows, and they've done and we've
they've
met them.
approached you, maybe.
But they've approached us,
Yeah.
yeah. So right now that's the best way for it to function, just because of our capacity, really, and not for lack of want, but yeah. Do you have a question? Oh.
What about the other end of the spectrum? So we have a senior center here. Have you considered maybe collaborating with recent retirees who are looking to be more artistic, who are interested in perhaps workshops or creating new projects and really rediscovering themselves and their lifestyles?
I think, well, for me, what comes to mind is the
Artifactory?
Yeah, like Artifactory has been doing the art in the afternoon over there. So I haven't really thought about it in terms of like on behalf of Public Space One, but I've given an artist talk there and just trying to collaborate with the other arts organizations in town, and maybe where they've started the work, then we're trying to kind of pair a little bit more. But
Yeah, I think Artifactory is an interesting question, because they have this large scale vision for a community arts center, and in some ways we're a smaller version of that, but unable to fulfill their ultimate goal there. So we're trying to. That's always been something we've had to navigate with them. Outside people who are not in the local art scene at all probably see us as very similar organizations, although when you get down to it, we're very different.
we're trying to support each other a little bit more.
Yeah, so I think that, they do classes at the center, and we put up their flyers and promote them and that sort of thing, but we're also like wary about not stepping on toes and that sort of.
But then we'll kind of send our artists over there, right? So like Liz Munger, who just had a show with us, also did an artist talk with them. So I think that kind of just, encouraging artists to reach out to all the different ways that they can engage with the community here. It doesn't have to be through our programming necessarily.
First of all, you guys have a great ambassador in Ricardo.
Yeah.
He keeps us up to date on what's going on with you guys. Congratulations on the new space.
Thanks.
You had an open house recently. When you were finally finally approved by the city,
Yeah.
get everything going,
Yeah.
we'll be having another one.
Yeah.
It might be kind of soon, but sounds like it'd be appropriate.
Yeah, we're in this, like I mentioned, this gray area, so everything is kind of an open house at this point. But yeah, once we get our certificate of occupancy, and we'll have a grand opening and that sort of thing. And it seems like the press co-op house is really close to being done, so it might happen there a lot sooner than at the other house. Yeah, and you know, I know it's really odd to see Public Space One's logo on this, because it feels like we inherited this thing from public access television. So I'm glad to be here and kind of feel a little more connected to it now that our logo is showing up on 1 Million Cups every time. So thanks.
Question.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Can you talk about the art auction and the rest of the program?
Yeah, I failed to put our big annual art auction in the slide deck.
Oh, you didn't? Sorry.
No. I failed to do that.
Oh.
So thank you for bringing it up. It's in 2 weeks, and it's our main annual fundraiser. I like the art auction because it's not only what sustains our gallery programming funding for the year, but it also tends to be a really nice cross section of regional artists and the work that they're making. So you can come see the show, and there's going to be 70 plus pieces in it, and it's just going to be a nice kind of Eastern Iowa and beyond. Everyone in there has some connection to Public Space One, even though we'll have artists from both coasts represented, and a lot local students to local citizens to everyone in between. But February 15th is the big shindig, the last night, and it's usually a very celebratory occasion, and there's usually some surprises and art performances and that sort of thing. So it'll be really fun that evening. Hopefully, we always do it in January or February, and the weather is usually terrible. But maybe we'll get lucky. People come and warm up, and it's all good. So.
All right. So final 2 questions. 1, how can we as a community support Public Space One? And 2, where can we find more information?
Yeah. That QR code goes to our website. So if you take a picture of that, you can go to our website. We have a sustaining membership that's sort of like the IPR, NPR model. A lot of people, and really it's kind of amazing, because I know it's cliche to talk about this, but those $10, those $15 a month allowed us to purchase these 2 houses. We started that program 3 years ago, and it was having that, what is now over, $1,200, $1,300 a month come in, that makes it happen, made it happen, and it's from people giving $5, $20 a month. So that sustaining membership is really important to us in our community. We pour it all right back into the organization, and now this facility is kind of there. It's permanent. We're renovating these old houses, so it's going to be there on the north side, and hopefully bring a lot of vibrancy to that block that already has a lot going on. And so I think, yeah, that's kind of the easy answer to how to support us, and the kind of deeper, more Joseph Boy's answer would be to celebrate the creativity in your life. I mean, don't label us as just an art gallery, and because you're not an artist, it's not for you. We really think that we are given 2 hands, 10 fingers, because we make things. We all make things, and when you pick apart the history of art, you realize it's really just about making things.
And coming to the openings, I would say it's more of an encouragement for the artists showing, right? Like, it's so easy to go when you know whose artwork is on the walls, but it's not just for Public Space One. When you show up to events, you're encouraging someone in their journey, and it's just, I think that's really important.
Thanks.